Good evening, everyone. All right, let me get this link shared out. Firing up this live stream for the Europeans, those in a different time zone. I'm just sharing in Discord and Twitter. Hope you're all doing well. Congrats, Dr. Phil, on being first. Hey, everyone. Win 12K Bitcoin. Soon. Yeah, so we are at a very important level right now. It is the major 618 of this price structure. We have a slight swing failure on Bitcoin of the high, or on Bybit of the highs. Some exchanges haven't swept the highs yet. Right now, as we consolidate, there's a row of single prints here in the market sessions. I'll just show that really quickly. Where is this? Let's go to the market sessions. So I pointed this out as we came down and tested this row of single prints, just saying that this was an important local support to hold if we want to get a retest of the highs. I guess I may as well share. We have a little bit of bullish absorption coming in at these lows. I was pointing out in the Discord, we'll look in a second, but there's the VWAP right here. I was looking for, I want a sweep of these lows for a long, but I mentioned we probably won't get it because we can see all these shorts started piling in a 4.9 million volume candle. We have 3.1 million negative delta, 2.7 million delta. So people shorting this breakdown, big bullish absorption here as bigger traders absorb those sell-offs with limit orders, pushing price back up, trying to squeeze them out. But anyways, let's go back to the trading view chart. So this is the VWAP I was referring to, where all the shorts were piling into that VWAP. And yeah, I'm kind of just trading this locally. I have a short from higher. I took a little bit of profit off of it. We're in a relatively tight range, about 2%. But yeah, I'd like to see us at some point. You know, we do have the idea of just sweeping this wick. This is actually almost identical price action to the initial high Sol made. Sweeping this wick into the local golden pocket, maybe grabbing some liquidity, then maybe come sweep these lows, and then maybe a push up through the highs. Shorting a swing failure, that could be a nice setup. Breaking out and then losing the breakout. Trapping traders up here. Would like to see a lot of volume coming in up here. Lots of traders getting stopped out, lots of longs opening. So shorts getting stopped out, longs opening. Looking at that in the volume and the order flow. We'll note that just looking at this FTM position. So there's this ascending channel idea into this high time frame golden pocket, sweeping these highs. I took a very small position on the retest of this ascending channel. A decent rejection so far. I actually entered in around here because this happened in like 3 seconds. The price had already moved down almost 1%. Tough price action to trade. I was trading it small for that reason. But anyways, as for Bitcoin, you know, we have some local bullish absorption here. I would like to see these shorts opening at the lows, squeezed out at some point. Whether we come down and sweep the lows first, generating more liquidity. Of course, we could always break down. This is a really important level overhead. If we claim this high, and if this trend is any indication, we won't spend much time consolidating. But if we claim it, sweeping this high is very likely. And we do have the, among other confluences, the 786 right above it. But this is important resistance to claim. And one of the reasons it's so important, more important than any of the other levels we've tapped, is we're now aware of how much liquidity there was here. Even in these 5-minute candles, multi-$100 million candles on Bybit. Lots of shorts getting wrecked. Okay, I'm just reading some comments. Welcome from Asia. Asia back in the live stream. I remember you from the last one, Shiva. Someone's saying my mic is quiet. It shouldn't be quiet. I just turned it a little bit, so maybe that's better. Nice. Don't Cry Wolf said he took a little long scalp off this VWAP. So as we had initially rejected here, I had pointed out these single prints in the Discord and the VWAP, and I said, you know, maybe we come down and we bounce off the VWAP before pushing up to the highs. We did get a nice reaction from there. So I'm saying long scalps look pretty good on alts. Someone asking me to look at Sol. Welcome from Slovenia. So a couple things. Somebody's asking, where did I see that? Thoughts on a total breaking out, and if the 786 retracement is a good place to short or the best place to short. So as far as breaking out goes, I have no idea. We either do or we don't. The best indicator of whether or not you're going to break out is breaking out. For now, we're getting a reaction off of this level, which is technical and clear. It's not surprising to have a reaction here. As we broke out of the point of control, you know, I said probably just expecting us to move up to this level without much resistance. But would have been very surprised if we got no reaction here. Like if we just blasted through this level, that would have been a little wild. The best thing to do, but this is sort of an ongoing process, is to keep an eye on order flow and your CVD divergences as you're consolidating. Because even here, you know, I would have liked the idea of sweeping these lows, but it was very clear as all the shorts started piling in and getting absorbed that it became a lot less likely that we were going to sweep these lows and rather just make a higher low locally. My analysis for a breakout, somebody's asking for my total analysis on a breakout. Would look something like this. Come up, sweep these highs, put in wave 1, 2, 3, 4. But you know, the structure here is a little questionable to move straight up into a wave 3. I'd like to see some retracements so that we can have a sub wave 4 into a wave 5 to create a wave 3. But something like this, ultimately sweeping the highs at 26K. In which case, I'd be very surprised if we don't see some kind of deep correction before a continuation. sweeping the bottom of wave 4. You know, could come lower before continuation. That'd be the most bullish scenario. Obviously, we all know, you know, as much as this rally seems inordinary, it's not that inordinary in terms of the liquidation runs we've had, and even some of these. Let me clean up my chart a little bit. Even some of these rallies we had back in the fall. You know, it's not that inordinary. So we all know price action is probably not going to develop like this. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's unlikely. So just looking at key levels where you're likely to get pullbacks, into support where you're likely to get bounces. And sorry, I'm just pausing for a second to yeah, someone's asking if this is a wave 3 of an Elliot wave count. It is, but I made this count down here. I'm going to play with it a little bit as price action develops. So this is an old count. With the idea of kind of like a leading diagonal, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. But if we want to think about subwaves, I mean, this is kind of want to see some kind of wave 4 correction coming in here. I mean, obviously the point of control would be beautiful if we could reject from here into the point of control before continuation up into a higher degree wave 3. This is a very speculative count. I mean, very speculative. I made it before there was even a wave 1. Or sorry, a wave 2. So, you know, it was an idea for a bullish continuation as we were ranging here still. But the levels are very nice. It's just the confluences at the levels. And it's really messy because I just piled on all the confluences. So if I was to share something like this, I made a video on this count actually. It's the last video I have on my YouTube channel. It's like from 3 weeks ago. This formed a little differently than it was in the video, but the overall count I think is still roughly valid. Someone's asking, long term, do I see new lows? I answer questions like this a lot. I typically don't like to think in terms of, are we going to see new lows? Are we at all-time highs? Are we at all-time lows? You know, we have clear support and resistance. If clear support breaks, then lower is more likely. If resistance breaks, higher is more likely. And there's no reason, because for example, I'll just give my perspective on this. If I just think in my head, I think we're going to see new lows. Well, what can I really do with that information? So does that mean I'm not going to take longs with clear setups? Or I'm going to short when I wouldn't short otherwise? Not really. I can't really use that information as a trader, and there's no way to know one way or the other. If I'm carrying shorts, similar to like if I'm carrying swing longs and there's just no weakness, then sweet, I end up in a great swing long position where there's not really any sweating or ambiguity. Why can't I say that word? It's not very ambiguous about whether or not I should stay in that position. And the same thing is sometimes you end up in short positions where you take a short and then the bottom just drops out. And it's like, okay, well, great. I'm in a short and it's a swing short now. And you wait for consolidation, you wait for reactions to see ambiguity. Yeah, I know the word, it's like in my head, but for some reason it doesn't come out of my mouth. So getting a lot of comments here, so just reading the questions. Um, Someone asking, how often and for how long are you in front of your screen? I plead the fifth. You know, I would actually probably, I would actually probably benefit from less time on the charts. Just, you know, it's not good, I think, for your overall. I have a high tolerance, I guess, for it, and I really enjoy it. But I think overall, it's not good for your mentality and mindset to spend inordinate amount of hours on the charts. But at the same time, you know, the time and work pays off as well. But you have to sacrifice a lot of things that maybe aren't worth sacrificing. So I spend a lot of time on the charts in front of my screen, especially since I started the LATF group. I try to be quite active in that. And it's been really rewarding. You know, I love to see people whose lives are completely changing and are making huge breakthroughs. That's really rewarding. I've gotten tons of, you know, life are very, you know, people just saying their lives have changed and lots of great messages. So that's been rewarding. I'm just reading some. VK is asking, hi Lucky, I've been off with trading about a year and planning to re-enter the market, but I'm in track with the news and prices. Any advice? Much appreciated. Well, I don't know what your level of experience is. My general advice would be to, you know, take it slow, one step at a time. If you haven't traded with a live account in some time, maybe start with trading a paper account or a small amount of money. Slowly build up your trading muscles. Yeah, and I mean, I am a big fan of having a great community. It doesn't have to be something like a paid Discord group and the thing I'm doing with the LATF, but just people who you can bounce ideas off with and share your thoughts, get some feedback, ideally with experienced traders. Someone's asking, what would be your recommendation for part-time traders who can't monitor price action on a daily basis? Plan out your trades at high time frame levels and swing positions. You know, if you have to use limit orders for your positions because you just can't be there to execute them, then you might do well to trade a little smaller, a little wider, give your trades a little bit more breathing room because you can't monitor them. But typically, if you don't have a ton of time to trade, you're not typically going to be scalping and doing things like that. You're typically going to be trading high time frame levels. And that's fine. You know, you can do quite well taking 1 to 2 trades a month. A couple more questions. Do you use any tools for position sizing or just mental math? Just mental math. You know, my position sizing, I make it quite simple because, and I think this is maybe a good way to do it, is I just have a standard account size, and it's not all my money and then I'm trading against all my money. It's a standard account size and I trade relative to that account. But if my position sizing is a little big or a little small, it doesn't really matter because it's just a standard size I'm using. And every once in a while, I progress my account size. It's just to stay comfortable with the size you're trading. And it's, you know, even in the 1 to 2% risk, it's not a true 1 to 2% risk for me. And then after some time, I size up my account in one increment and continue that way. Someone asking for an update on the Lucky Apes trading floor paper trading platform. It's coming along really nicely. You know, in reality, we could probably look at doing an open beta over the next couple months, where just anyone's welcome to join and test it. And sometime after that, if everything's going smoothly, we'd do an official launch. But it's coming along lovely. There's no leverage available on it now. I think that there needs to be some kind of hedging or a leverage mechanism, just so you can hedge positions. It's kind of hard to do the way it is. You might have to clarify this question. Somebody's asking. I'm just going to go to a lower time frame here. And I am, we are in the London session here, or I guess it's the weekend. We aren't in the London session. But I would like to see a push up through these highs for potential short setups. But anyways, you asked, how do you use indicators when most times they often get lost? So that's the question I'll need you to clarify. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Okay, so somebody said the amount of times you use 50x leverage just got me curious about your position sizing method. So leverage listen, I don't recommend anyone uses leverage if you don't have an expert understanding of it. But leverage is a tool that should be used to reduce exchange risk. So I've talked about this over the last year. Is the reason I use leverage is so I don't have to keep all of my funds on an exchange, because there's exchange risk. And that's like what happened with FTX. And when you have all of your funds on an exchange, you're completely exposed to an exchange going defunct or something happening. So leverage is a tool to counter that. And then when you use cross leverage, cross margin positions, and you're at 50x, the leverage doesn't matter. It's just your position size. But again, I don't... Excuse me. I'm going to mute my mic. I'm just coughing. One second. I'm just choking out my spit. All right. Yeah, so anyways, when you're using cross leverage, it's just position size. Your positions are collateralized by your entire account. So it just allows you to float more easily when you have partial funds on an account to reduce exchange risk. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm choking on spit. Yeah, and when you your liquidation, let's just say you're 100x short here. One thing I'll say, if you are 100x short on a isolated leverage, your liquidation's actually 0.7% away, not 1% away. I do not recommend using a leverage or your liquidation as a stop loss, because you pay a 30% penalty on your position. But you can be with cross leverage. I'm just explaining this. I'm not recommending anyone use it, because if you don't understand this and you use it improperly, it's dangerous. But you could be 100x cross leverage, and your stop loss could be 20% away, and you aren't going to get liquidated, because it's not an isolated margin. All right. VCAS has asked 4 times now. Bro, tell us about your bearish targets analysis of 10K approximately. You know, the thing about like 10K, well, now we have a lot of support to get through to get to 10K, right? So how, you know, if I take some swing shorts off of key levels and we end up getting a really strong rejection and really bearish market structure, and I have no reason to close those shorts, maybe I trail a stop and I end up at 10K with that short, great. But you know, it's just a number. Like, you know, there's support at 10K, there's targets at 10K, but what is there to really say about it? I have ideas for pushing this 48K high as well. But how much time should I spend talking about it? Probably not a bunch, because we need to navigate all of this first before we get to 10K or we get to 48K. So, you know, I'm surprised how popular it is on Twitter for accounts that just talk about these big targets all day, every day, and people seem to love it. I guess it makes you feel better if you're not in longs, or it makes you feel better if you're in a long and the target's 100K. Excuse me. But really, what's the value, right? You could talk about it a little bit, but should your primary focus be these huge targets? Somebody's asking, why is a liquidation 70%? 70% margin for liquidation? You know, it's actually not uncommon when you're utilizing leverage with any exchange for them to require 30% margin. And so the idea is you've passed your 30% margin requirement, and so you get liquidated. And it's a way for exchanges to make money, certainly. But you should never run to your liquidation. You're just paying 30% of your position as a fee, essentially. But because some people will like do a high leverage position and then use their liquidation, like high leverage, low margin, isolated, use their liquidation as a stop loss, and it's almost going to be impossible to trade profitably that way. It accounts for slippage and things like that, but it's a hefty fee. We broke out here on FTM. Pretty much everything on a tear. Certainly good swing failure here. Okay, somebody asked me to take a look at Sol. I shared this setup earlier in the Discord. Oh man, I would have liked to short this swing failure, to be honest. That would have been a really nice position. I didn't have an alert set. I would have just shorted this like this. But my long target would be to sweep these lows into this golden pocket, which is now needs to be slightly adjusted just from this consolidation. This is a very low time frame. It's about 8%, 8.5% away. Sweep these lows, see a reaction from here, reclaim them, and then push up, maybe into the highs, but you know, definitely be watching for potential support resistance flip. I will say this, you know, I wanted to kind of take a look at Bitcoin, analyze some of this local price action, take a look at the macro price action, hang out a little bit, answer some questions. But it is nearly 1 in the morning for me. And you know, I'm just sitting here with a glass of wine. I might not do a ton of analysis on a bunch of different altcoins. I got to flip through a couple. Interesting. I mean, I have really old analysis on a lot of these. There's a high time frame descending channel idea. It's definitely gotten moved. We were in this internal descending channel. There's a nice bounce there. Swing failure at the lows, big impulse. Let's get rid of that. Cardano is right at the golden pocket on the 4-hour chart from this pivot high. Not really strong structural ideas there. Be more appealing to push up into the 786 maybe. It's about 10% away. Yeah, someone's saying I should just lock the analysis, lock the channels. I know. That would definitely help. I think what happens, it usually happens when I look at it on my phone. Why don't I have comp here? Someone's saying check comp, crazy pump. Technically, everything's at a crazy pump. Comp just seems to be lagging behind this 4-hour candle. Right into the 618 from this pivot high. Yeah, I mean, everything behaves relatively similarly. 8% rejection from there. I'm guessing this happened in like a 1-minute candle. We didn't quite tap it. So saying, bro, how you open unique long and short positions or hedge positions on Bybit with the current positions? Because when I do this, positions will add in my current trade. If you're in the USDT pair, you go to settings and you put in hedge mode. And that will allow you to hedge your positions. I'm just curious how big this wick was. That would have been such a nice short setup. That's what I get for not adding an alert, though, to that high. Someone's saying Avax is the most interesting chart right now. Yeah, I actually have some analysis on Avax. So back here, I was doing a members video about something else, but I had mentioned that Avax was about to have a big high time frame breakout idea. And it's actually from this descending structure. And you could see we were on a low time frame grinding along it as resistance. We broke out of it and had this big pump. We had a nice reaction at this major point of control, about 11%. You can see it pulled across here. I mean, not so clear to me about shorting it here. I mean, you could kind of say maybe swing failure in this wick. But it does seem like it wants to drive at least to this high. We'll see. I think it's prudent to be aware that our point of control could shift here. If we do get a pullback, say like retest this sort of horizontal line and put some time in here, won't take much volume to make this the point of control. Around 20K really. Cheap Stuff says, time to short Solana. I'm pretty picky with my entries. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some kind of retracement here. I have long targets down here. But I would have liked to have shorted this sweep of the highs and fire that short right away, right off that reaction. Then I'd already be in a great spot. Something like a 4R trade. Okay, so I'll answer and keep questions coming if you have any. Someone's asking, so do you think 2170-ish is a good entry for Sol for a new long? So to answer this question, this is a good entry for a short for Sol, but not because Sol can't break out. Like if you entered here and it went like this, it's still a good entry because you have super tight invalidation and a swing failure idea. Same thing down here, and a reclaim is a good entry because you have tight invalidation and the risk reward on your trade is very good. But the fact that it's not a good entry because you know price will bounce. Maybe it's more likely to bounce after a liquidity grab, just like this is more likely to reject after a liquidity grab. But so just to answer your question, when I say is it a good setup, it's a good technical setup with good risk reward. And if you want to look at it like this, something like this, maybe even just targeting back into these lows, which will be approximately around the golden pocket. Let's just, you're risking $1 to make $6, generally speaking. So that's what makes it a good long. But it also is a good idea to get out of your position if price starts breaking down. Yeah, there's lots of altcoin requests. I'll do an altcoin live stream soon, but not particularly. I'm not really feeling like doing a bunch of analysis tonight. Just going to take a quick look at, see if anything interesting is happening in order flow. I'll just pop over to that screen really quick. These are bid-ask profiles, just shows the shorts and longs. See the volume in your candles down here, the delta between shorts and longs, negative, positive. and this is the cumulative delta between all the candles. So if you added up all the shorts, all the longs, all the selling, all the buying, this tells you if there's more aggressive buying or selling, and a divergence between the two tells you if people are sitting with limit orders, absorbing selling pressure or absorbing buying pressure. And typically that's how bigger traders, market makers, and whales operate in the market. So it kind of gives you an idea of where the big traders are positioning themselves. And then you want to piggyback on them. Someone's saying Sol's going to break down. Don't go long now. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't long now. This would be a scalp. You know, wait for another 8% pullback to sweep the liquidity under these lows. If we reclaim them, if we show signs of strength, along with tight invalidation, take some profits, stop to entry. Lazar's asking where can he see that that I just showed, the bid-ask profiles. That is ExoCharts. That's a paid subscription. I think it's 40 euros a month, something like that. But there's free software that has the same thing. GoCharting.com has bid-ask profiles and footprint charts and market profiles. So, and that's completely free. But just know that, you know, looking at some of that advanced order flow stuff, if you don't know how to use it and you've never used it before, it's certainly very interesting to learn and very useful. But yeah, you need to learn how to use it properly, or it can just kind of become noise. We have this big wick on ETH that seems like it would want to be filled. We had massive volume coming in on ETH as well. This leaves a lot of inefficiency in this wick. It'd be cool, like on ETH, same thing as Bitcoin. I'd look at local market structure. If we could sweep this low and reclaim it, that might offer a tight invalidation long. Maybe with the idea of filling this wick. Maybe a stop could be somewhere around 0.6, 0.7% away, depending on where the low comes in. Wait for the reclaim and then fire off the position. Vikas is asking one last question. He's asking, do I prefer to stop trading for a month once I've reached a certain amount of profit or loss? No. I just take setups that make sense. I already looked at FTM a bit. Someone's asking me to look at FTM. I'll pull it up again. Wait, what the? Oh, interesting. The Bybit. Sorry, I was looking at local price action here on the Bybit chart. But the Binance chart, which I hadn't looked at, but this got moved again. So some old local price action. But there's an ascending channel idea here, clearly. But we need to push up a little bit higher to tap it on Binance. No fib confluence. Sometimes these kind of weird trend lines play a factor. So we need to impulse into that. I'm just going to pull a couple levels on Binance. The value area high is right here. Oh, hey, Prophet Ape. Lazar is just saying he's Prophet Ape. He's a member in the Lucky Apes Trading Floor Discord. Yeah. You know what? If you watch the advanced order flow educational video, I'm pretty sure I talk about what tool I'm using. And that's just in the educational videos channel. Price is kind of coiling up in this triangle. You know, typically price likes to, when you have these defined trend lines, it does like to fake a move one direction or the other before continuation or a breakout. Oh, I'm on the BTC USDT chart. Please click the button. Tejum is saying he read an article that one of the devs have written the Cardano smart contract using Python. He doesn't get why it gets so much hate. I don't follow almost any of the fundamental aspects of these coins, so I'm not the person to ask there. I couldn't tell you who has the best tech or why. And if the last bull run was any indication, apparently, as long as your coin is modeled after a dog, that's all you really need. But yeah, I'm interested in scalping. This is a local range. See if we get a reaction there. Would ultimately love to just sweep this high and short that, exactly like what just happened on Sol. Range, impulse, sweep the high, short with a stop above the wick. Although I might run it a little wider on Bitcoin. Abu is saying, normally you don't trade on weekends. When it is bullish like this, would you open positions? And that's correct. Normally I do not trade on weekends. And I may not trade tonight or over the weekend. But when we're at a major level, my only caveat is when a major level is being tapped, I'm willing to look at positions. And I find typically, at least in my time zone, Saturday tends to be a little bit of a lull day, maybe a bit of ranging, and then Sunday you can put in major levels. Oh, would I open this position during the weekend? Like along here. This chart's getting messy. Maybe. You can also just trade smaller on weekends, but I wouldn't be surprised if this takes longer than the weekend to play out. If it takes like a day and a half. The reason I don't trade on weekends is because fewer big traders are trading, so the volume's not as good, levels don't hold up as well. So let's just say, for example, there's 8 million shorts opening here into the VWAP. And that opportunity, that liquidity to squeeze those shorts out isn't there on the weekends. There's fewer traders defending the level, fewer traders shorting the level. Everybody's, as I would say, sitting by their pool, sipping margaritas on the weekend. Someone's saying, nice call about the Bitcoin bottom, bro. If we really still bearish, we nuke hard next week, but I doubt it. Bottom could be in for a few months, and alts get some pushback before another run. Yeah, I mean, nuking would be, it's not off the table. I mean, I believe in fractal price action. So I believe in, for example, this nuke came from this golden pocket. And if we want to go into something like replay mode, which I may as well for fun, you'll notice I use these same styles of tools on every time frame. But if we go into replay mode, let me play this really quick. So I had long this swing failure of this low into the 886. I had a harmonic idea here at the time. I mean, this is a long time ago. This is in September. But aware of this golden pocket idea. So this was a major harmonic target, 25K, a short into the 886. And aware of this golden pocket, but I wasn't necessarily anticipating this type of rejection, but aware of this key level. Price pushes into the golden pocket and just nukes. And this was a big move. You know, from 18,000 to almost 23,000, 20+%. We ranged for a while. We put in some other golden pocket retracements eventually, where I was hedging out my longs. Hopefully this goes a little quicker. This will be interesting, I think, so it's worth the wait. So anyways, we ranged here for a while. Golden pocket, wicked through it a little bit eventually. And then we nuked again, right, off that golden pocket. And the thing is, we're coming back into the golden pocket again. And as unlikely as it seems, I don't think it necessarily seemed likely here. This is all fractal ideas. Price could just nuke from here, certainly. Wouldn't be the first time Bitcoin has impulsed aggressively right into a nuke. Like this 48K position, which was not a golden pocket. The first one was, this was, from here to here, golden pocket, massive 25% move down, completing a target for a Gartley harmonic. And then we pushed up into the 786, which completed the last leg of the Gartley. That was a big short target. And we nuked. So it wouldn't be the first time that Bitcoin has nuked out of a big impulse, out of a key level. And that's why I use shorts and hedges and things to protect myself, right? Because I don't want to get caught off guard if Bitcoin just says, and for LATF members, this is going to make more sense because they'll have seen this many times as well on many time frames. I don't want to be caught off guard if Bitcoin just does this. And we say, oh, we swing failure the high right into the golden pocket, just like we've done 20 other times. And it's not that the golden pocket can't break, but it's the major golden pocket of this price structure. And this happens quite often. Not just here, it also happens as support. I remember this one fondly. Wicking into the golden pocket, getting a range. And then we have the 382, which is the inverse of the golden pocket. Look at this. We have this big pullback from 41,000 down to the 28,000 low back in 2021. Push right up into the golden pocket. Reject to the range lows. So my point is, you will usually find at major highs and lows golden pocket confluence. This one's kind of a little bit harder to explain. Go to the 1 day. I won't get into it. If you pull from the coronavirus low to the all-time high, the 618 here, slight front run from here. But my point is, price action is fractal. You'll see these ideas repeat over and over again. So why am I interested in this moment in looking for shorts here? Because I've seen price move up aggressively or move down aggressively into these 618 retracements so many times, and then price just nukes. Even in ways that catch me off guard sometimes, even though, you know, I'm aware of this resistance here, but am I necessarily expecting a complete reversal of a 20% move almost instantly? Not necessarily, but it happens. But usually Bitcoin does like to run a little deeper into the level. So if I can get a nice short with tight invalidation, great. And if we nuke, then awesome. Then, you know, if price starts breaking down and I have longs from the lows, shorts from the highs, and at a certain point I don't really care what happens. I've taken profits on longs, maybe I get some profits on shorts, stops to entry. Price can go either way. I can look for longs if we sweep the lows. Reading some questions here. Someone's saying, can I explain cross versus isolated margin? You know, I'm not going to dive deep into it. It's not that complicated, but a quick Google search would explain a lot of these kind of concepts. I don't want to dive too. I don't really like because people like to use leverage to trade more money than they have, which is very dangerous. Leverage should be used as a risk management tool. You don't have to keep all your money on an exchange. You can just trade against your funds using leverage to represent a bigger account. People think leverage is a degen tool, when in fact, as FTX should have shown people, it's a risk management tool. Yeah, someone's saying this looks like a good old-fashioned Wyckoff accumulation schematic. Yeah, somebody in the Discord shared accumulation idea down lower. And I said it looked reasonable. People seem to like Wyckoff. I used to share a little bit more Wyckoff ideas, but maybe I'll do some more content on that in the future. So it's interesting. Someone says AVE is at the golden pocket. So Bitcoin's at the golden pocket. It's the 61.8% retracement of this move. And I'll just explain this really quick. You have the 382 as well. Can be really important for bullish continuation. Just a quick lesson here. So I went over the golden pocket. The other thing you can look for is the 382. Where you can see price makes a low, it's left to right, and we bounce off the 382 and have a big impulse off at that level to make our all-time high. So the 382 also, I believe this was a 382. as well. 382 rejection, 382 rejection. So we were kind of bound under the 382 here. The resistance 382. This is support. But this is what I'll say really quickly. This is the point I was about to make. Is the 382 is the inverse of the 618 in the sense that the distance between here and the 618 is the same as the distance between here and the 382, if I pulled it correctly. So, yeah, does that make sense? Anyway, so they're both very important. They both kind of mean different things, especially in terms of Elliott waves and trend continuation. But anyways, I got sidetracked. Somebody was pointing out AVE is at the golden pocket. It's typically not a coincidence. But you see a lot of a lot of old AVE analysis here. That you see a lot of altcoins hitting their relative 382s because it's all based off of structure at the same time as Bitcoin and other coins. Sometimes you have confluence where the 382 and the 618, although it's probably from the other high, if it exists at all, overlap. Not so clean here. Although we made this new low, so someone asking if I shorted this golden pocket. I assume you're talking about Bitcoin. I did. I have a short from up here. I already actually took some profits off of it because we have some bullish absorption. And it's not that I want to add to it. I mean, but I would like to see price impulse up and sweep the high. Again, like Sol did here. That was a trade I missed. All right, well, maybe I won't do a super long live stream here. I'll say this: if you, yeah, we did a swing failure on. Sorry, I'll answer this question. We did a swing failure of the previous high on Bybit here, but I'd like to swing failure this high again if we could. Some other major exchange pairings haven't swept the high yet, so it'd be nice for TradingView, Coinbase to sweep the high. It'd be nice for Binance to sweep the high. The Binance BTC USDT pairing. So because they haven't swept the highs yet, I think expecting another push up so that all the big exchanges can grab that liquidity at a minimum would be reasonable. Steven's asking, what is the lowest time frame you will go to look for entries and place your stop loss? I'll look at the 1 minute time frame. But the thing is, the 1 minute time frame doesn't have to be very different than the 1 hour time frame. It's just levels, right? So I did give this example of a long setup, and if you haven't watched, I did a live stream earlier today. I think there's a lot to learn from it. But this is when price was down here. I was expecting a push up, but I gave some scalp ideas. I was looking at the 1 minute time frame. I said, well, here's some structure. We have this liquidity grab looking move under these lows. You can also look at that in the 5 minute chart. And the chart just disappeared. Because somebody asked me, how would I get in on a bullish trend continuation if you don't have a position and there's no pullbacks? I said you'd have to just look at local structure. So looking at this local structure, you have a swing failure, and then you have tight invalidation. I would just trade it very local. And I gave this example as it was happening. This wasn't like post-analysis. It was pre-analysis. And so anyways, then price started I want to go back to the 1 minute chart. So then price started grinding up, and I just made the point that, you know, there's really, you can run tight invalidation here at the maximum. I'd put under this low, about a 0.4% stop, and targeting the highs of the range. But if there's no weakness, there's no reason to take profits. So we had no weakness. I said, really no weakness, no reason to take profits. Now, as we swept these highs, I said, now if you want to hedge short, you could hedge short without closing your long, like this. And if you break out, just let the long continue. If you break down, then you have your short covering your longs, and you take some profits if there's a break in market structure. As price started breaking up, I said I'd probably move my stop under here, this low time frame structure. This is a 1 minute chart, and see if the breakout fakes out or continues. And, you know, so that trade could have just accidentally turned into a massive position of, you know, 25R, 8% move. And the same thing here. You know, you could look at the 1 minute chart and you just look at structure. Mark out your structure. Be aware of your local levels. Look at order flow. See if you're getting bullish or bearish absorption. Take scalps with low, with close invalidation. Something like this. But you want, my preference when doing this is to make sure you reclaim the level before you enter into a position. Okay, last question, and then I'll wrap it up. But I would recommend going back and watching the live stream from earlier today. I think it was useful. And if you're interested in learning more about technical ideas and developing as a trader and joining a great community, come check out the LATF trading floor, the Lucky Apes trading floor. Link should be in the description. It's in my Twitter bio. It's a great community. We're doing cool stuff. So someone says, do you hedge short? Do you use a different exchange? I just use Bybit. You can hedge within there, which is one of the things I like about it. You can open a short and a long position at the same time on the same pairing as separate positions. You just have to turn on hedge mode. So quite cool. Someone's asking if there will be another free trial of the Lucky Apes trading floor. They missed the last one. Yeah, I don't know if I've run one for a few months. There is a technically annoying thing about running the free trial that gets super annoying to deal with, and it's just a technical issue. So I'm not opposed to running another one. I don't have one planned, but my answer is maybe, probably. Yeah, that'd be my answer. I'll look at doing another one. You know, I'm not totally opposed to having it be a semi-permanent thing either. It's just a little frustrating. There's an annoying thing that happens with the free trial when I try to set it up. But thanks everyone for tuning in. Hopefully this was helpful. It's pretty chill. Maybe the last live stream was a little bit more maybe in depth and technical, but this was just sort of hanging out. I got a little more tired than I thought I would. But it's a Friday night. Everybody enjoy your weekend.